3 signs the group needs you to remain the villain. I'm a jury consultant. I help you stop guessing what people think and start leading what they decide. Because once a group has organized itself around a certain version of you, your growth becomes a problem. So here are 3 signs that's what's happening. Number 1, nothing you do is allowed to count as evidence. You can change your approach, you can become calmer, you can stop reacting, you can take responsibility where it belongs, and somehow none of it changes the story. That's the first tell, because the group is no longer evaluating your behavior. They're protecting a verdict they already reached. Number 2, your mistakes are treated like proof. Their mistakes are treated like context. When you get something wrong, it reveals your character. When they get something wrong, they were stressed. They were hurt. They had good intentions. So watch the standard, because when the rules of interpretation only move in one direction, the goal is not truth. The goal is preservation of the narrative. And number 3, anyone who sees you differently becomes a threat. If someone starts questioning the story, showing you compassion, or recognizing the pattern, the group has to explain them away too. So now they're naive, they're manipulated, they're taking sides. That's how you know the villain role is doing important work for the system. Because if you're not the problem, everyone may have to look at what actually is. So pay attention. Are they responding to who you are now, or are they defending a version of you that keeps everyone else comfortable? Because sometimes the group does not need the truth. It needs a defendant. So watch for that and follow to guess less and lead more.
Hello, fellow targeted individual. If you're a TI and you're being harassed, chances are you're going to go to the FBI or Homeland Security or the National Security Agency. Well, they've been recorded by NSA whistleblowers, ex-FBI whistleblowers, ex-DOD, DHS whistleblowers, slamming phones on Americans nationwide. Since I've been a TI, I have not met not one person helped by a fusion center, a sheriff's department, a police department, a sheriff's association, a citizens corps program, any state politician. But I have recorded in every single state issues with Israelis listed as contractors, radical feminists, people tied to Antifa, BLM, and God bless those people, working within our national security apparatus, being recruited at universities, and working with defense contractors, black ops groups. And within the United States, there are Americans being harassed in residential areas by people tied to an HOA, a VFW, American Legion, groups that have ties to law enforcement. You're not experiencing community policing or community engagement or public engagement. They may say they are doing that. You're experiencing a harassment campaign. They go to your block watch captain and neighbors and slander you. They go into stores and say you're a threat. They go into schools and say the same thing. And they target you even when you're overseas seeking political asylum. This is to show you the level of evil within this country. There are people being murdered out in Gaza, in Israel. And we have people here that want to conceal that. They want to ensure the ICC can't arrest nobody or charge anybody. Kind of like the Epstein case. You see the pattern? Kind of like the 5 dancing Jews case, where 5 guys that had foreknowledge of an attack, they were there to document the attack, were busted with a van full of explosives dressed as Arabs. But the CIA let them go. If you're being harassed by Israelis, radical feminists, LGBT, transgender, people wearing black suits, driving black SUVs, harassing you in restaurant stores and outsourcing to a bunch of people, chances are you're dealing with our clandestine up in Langley, Virginia. They've been doing this in our schools, promoting mass shootings, terrorism, trying to drive people to madness for decades, before you were perhaps born. Just walk away. And if they don't realize who the terrorist threat is, I don't know what to tell them or you. Because I've been in this since 1996, and the only thing I've seen are people asking for help, to be told there is none. They'll position themselves sometimes down the road from where you're at and harass you when you leave your house at 7 o'clock to go to a Walgreens. and they may partner with a veteran or a veterans group or civic group, and they'll use an app and communicate. When they're flagged, they just show up there and do something towards you. Typically, this tones down for some people after the 25-year mark. But I haven't heard of this stopping 100% in the life of nobody in America. So some targets seek political asylum. These activities, according to the Secret Service, the FBI, and DOJ, have been linked to mass shootings. You know why? It's based on mobbing. And guess who's been doing this and funding it and even concealing it? Those same agencies I just mentioned. They're on video in Texas. See, every day I wore DVR camera sunglasses, and they would arrive as I did and harass me at places. And when I went to the FBI in Texas, I was wearing DVR camera sunglasses and a body camera. I had it clipped onto my shirt, my sunglasses, and my body camera on the side. The same people I went to expose were exiting the FBI field office in Austin, Texas. As they exited for lunch, that's when I documented them. And it wasn't just them, it was other interagency partners. And here's what's really weird. The FBI has a history of doing this. Gang stalking. See, the term gang stalking is nothing more than a term to describe a person being harassed by a gang of people. Well, the FBI and their surveillance teams, they have a history of harassing people. Fusion centers, history of harassing people. DHS, same thing. National security partners and contractors. See, the reason why there is no investigations is because we don't have a constitutional form of government. Any politician which is bound to national security laws over the Constitution, along with the military, is siding with national security laws and secrecy laws over the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. And when their superiors tell their people do this and that for a federal agency and deprive you of life, liberty, and justice, they're just as low, because they'll side with one partner but not look to see if what they're being told is true. And time again, we've been finding out lie after lie. Tulsi Gabbard, which ran DNI, she was never a terrorist. DHS whistleblower Julia Davis, she was never a terrorist. I'm not a terrorist. I'm unarmed and non-combative when I go out the house. Have you ever heard of a terrorist calling the NSA, DOD, filing complaints with the FBI, asking for investigations? Terrorists don't do that, fellow TIs. They don't put their name, their social security number on the forms. They don't go to state Senate committee hearings to speak as a constituent. Terrorists are in hiding. And the truth is you've been lied to. And they've been harassing people in supermarkets and where they walk and where they eat. Now, with the rise of AI, I can pause a video from 20 years ago, put it through the AI, the facial recognition program, and even though they have no social media profiles, if they show up at a Lions Club newsletter, Kiwanis, a senior corps, seniors in law enforcement, an FBI InfoGuard meeting, newsletter, or maybe they were in a picture with their niece 6 years ago, I can find it now. And not only that, the FBI removed a massive social security number leak. If you're a TI, I can help you access it. It's very cheap if you want to buy the whole thing. It includes every American social security number. Don't use it for fraud, but to locate these people for investigations. You're going to find a lot of them are Jewish. They're ex-military. They're FBI. They're DHS. They're a bunch of partners. And when you see these LinkedIn profiles for the year you were harassed, don't be surprised if it's literally members of every federal agency that we trust. Violating your rights, harassing you in stores where you eat and where you walk. For years. For like half of your life. Harassment nonstop. And to get away with it, they outsource this to different people. How scumbaggish can these people get? And then they have the audacity to have a U.S. flag in front of their house or in their offices or around their facilities. Bear with me one moment. Gotta plug my phone up to this battery bank. This is about the most racist thing, fellow TIs, that I have seen. Besides scummy people siding with the nation, which has mass murdered people, that government. And then to make matters worse, we are stuck in a situation where if we relocate, we relive the same nightmare all over again. So the only way to escape this is political asylum or uniting, fellow TIs. As long as we stay divided, this will not change. Violence isn't the answer. Counterterrorism awareness is. And it's very apparent that we got a bunch of dumbasses that can't do a threat assessment appropriately. Because these people, they isolate the target, and that is considered a threat indicator. I'm the type of person, I love isolation. I used to have a very bright social life. But when I got targeted, my neighbors didn't want to talk to me no more. They assumed that I was a terrorist and pedophile. Some of them apologized when they found out they had been lied to and they ran my tag. I was never registered as a sex offender. They went to schools and said I was a terror threat. They went to stores saying that I was all these horrible things, that I could steal something from there. But I've been shopping there for 10 years. And I always left with a bag and a receipt. Never stole anything. They went to doctors and said I was faking it. And my doctor got furious. She bashed her hand on the table. I heard her yell, saying there's no possible way. We've been using the same lab for 20 years, and 5 other doctors and a professor state he has this condition. There's no way you can fake it. They take the blood out of me and it goes through a lab. And they felt like a dumbass. They harassed me at hospitals where I ate, where my family ate. And this was your FBI. This was your CIA and DOD partners went along with this. Who would have thought, fellow TIs, that our government would do this to us? And then they have the audacity to say they respect the Constitution when we have secret law over the Constitution. How can you support the Constitution if you're bound to lie? It's kind of like a Freemason bound to a secret oath that has to conceal crimes for their brother. You can't trust somebody that will lie. So what they do is they deny you life, liberty, and justice. Your DOJ, a scam. Call them. They'll hang up the phone. They won't even investigate. And if they do investigate, do you think they're going to tell you anything? Of course not. They represent the agencies which are outsourcing this. It's for that reason why state government is not going to help you. Remember that lowlife that was terrorizing families in Tampa? The state politicians haven't said a word. And the Sheriff's Association still have that guy under their wing. That's to show you the level of evil here, fellow TIs. The Constitution really doesn't apply here, and they know it, I know it, and you know it. Why do you think these people are going into Facebook? And one of my connections found them. It's a social media contractor that gets government contracts. And all they do is go into groups and discredit people and harass people. But they have no posts, no social media profile, no friends. And they come 10, 20 deep, harassing people. Because they're not here to support the Constitution, but to discredit people. Because targeting is a business. It's a gig economy in America. So when you leave your house to get harassed, understand you're dealing with veterans. You're dealing with contractors. You're dealing with people tied to local veteran groups. You're dealing with people sometimes that linger around the area just to take a picture of you so that way they can prove they harassed you. And they don't stop until there's an embarrassment. In my case, there won't be none because I don't harass people or harm people. They don't learn, fellow TIs, until they're embarrassed, until it comes out. And DOJ isn't going to stop this, fellow TIs. If anything, they'll support it.